Hello! I hope my sound is okay. Somebody confirm that I have sound. Perfect, great, wonderful. So I am continuing work on this page where I've decided to bite off more than I should really chew, and doing a whole bunch of different fungi paintings. Little like field guide page where I paint a whole bunch of different things. So we're on this. I'm gonna take this and shove this over here. And I am figuring out what all mushrooms I'm what all mushrooms I'm painting. I need to finish sketching this one, and then actually I don't need to do anything. I need to start painting, and then I will go back to adding more mushrooms later. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. All right. Woohoo. So I'm painting a black morel here. Hi, Lana. This one doesn't have anything too terribly shiny on it, so I'm just doing a full wash, even though it is going to have some deeper ridges that are going to be much darker. But because there's no like shine to it, I can just paint the whole thing with a fairly dark underwash and get the shape in. And so, yeah. Ooh. Nope, that's too much. Anyway, I decided I wanted to fill this whole page, which I think means I'm gonna have to let go of the perfectionism that I put into that first mushroom. Otherwise, this is gonna take several weeks, and ain't nobody got time for that. Because I want to put this in the mail, certainly this weekend. So I'm going away to a residency. I do not want to leave this hanging while I go away. This needs to be done. I have other stuff to do this weekend. So ideally this gets finished today and dropped in the mail. of it. Too much hair. It's human hair. And it's longer than my hair is right now because I just cut my hair. So it's old human hair. Wonderful. Okay, or I guess I could do that. Yeah, whatever. No, I don't want this to keep on dragging out. Okay, whatever, it's fine. Where will you go on residency? It's not far. So I'm going to Gibraltar Point, whatever it's called now. It's an art center on the Toronto Islands. So the way Toronto is built, there's a series of islands just right off of the Toronto mainland, like very, very close. It used to be a peninsula, and then a storm in the 1800s, I think, knocked out the little tiny land bridge between the Toronto Islands and the mainland, and then they dug out a little bit further to actually separate it so that it's islands and there's a shipping channel between the islands and the city. There is a school there and a very small community of people who actually live on the island. It's interesting because back in the day it was just sort of slums, like people just settled there without any kind of city endorsement, and they had to make it official in the 90s, 80s. And so now it is all a park, but the city leases out, they have 99-year leases that they lease out to the people who have homes on the island. And so there's a very small community on the island. As a result, there's a school. And there was an older school that was deemed inappropriate for children, but the island residents lobbied to preserve it, to not knock it down, and now it's an art center. So it's not appropriate for children, but it is still used as an events venue and an art center, and so they offer residencies. I'm going to a climate change themed focused group residency with a group of artists who I've done stuff before. Yeah. So it's really, really close. Like, in fact, I am likely to have to run back home at least once during the residency. I'm gone for 2 weeks. And that's not counting going into the mainland where my family lives. Now, I am trying to stay on the island. Last time I did not leave the island, so this is the second time I'm going there. Last time I did not leave the Toronto Island. I made a big point of like, no, this is an island residency. I'm not just gonna turn this into a, like, oh yeah, I'm going into the Toronto mainland to run whatever errands every day. Yeah, so yes. It's cool. I'm staying in a little portable. So they have portables. I guess they used to be classrooms when they ran this as a school. Now they're just little studios with a so most of the school has been broken up into like old classrooms that got turned into studios, and there's also areas where they've split it up and turned it into bedrooms. And so most people who stay, like there's also people who just have studios there, people who either live near the island on the mainland and just take the ferry over, or mostly actually island residents who have a home or they rent on the island, then have a studio at this art center. So there are full-time artists there who have their studio there full-time, but then they also have these rental studios. People come in for residencies and stay. Mostly there's like wings of the school that have been converted to bedrooms where it's just a bed, dresser, whatever, like a really small, like think of it like a dorm room sort of situation, and then rent a studio. So they'll have a bedroom and a place to work, and that's where most of the people are staying for this residency. But they also have, I believe, 6 portables, and the portables then have a bedroom, like a bed, a closet, whatever, like bed area, and a studio space. And I get a portable because I travel with a service dog. So they decided that it was easier to give me my own contained space, so that there would be less, whatever, the dog getting everywhere. Also, most of the people are sharing larger studios. So again, it's just an extra thing. I just get to have my own little portable. It's really neat. I can get up in the morning, go walk along the beach. I once stayed in an old school in Spain that was used as a hostel. Probably they did the same stuff. So actually, just after they built the new school, so the city of Toronto, so I grew up in Toronto, the city of Toronto runs the island school. The island school is both like a regular school for the kids who live on the island or right along the waterfront. So there are kids who actually go to primary school by crossing on a ferry every morning. And the kids from the island community just go across the island to, like, they go from mostly like Algonquin Island and Ward's Island, sort of across the chain of islands. There's a boardwalk that runs along it and a main road. They go across sort of to the other side where the school is. So that's one function of the school, but the other thing that Toronto does with the island school is they have like a natural science school, where in grade 5 or 6, I was in grade 5, they take the students from, I think it's grade 5 or 6, maybe grade 4 or 5, whatever. I think it was grade 5 that I went. I think it's grade 5 and 6. They take every student in one of the Toronto schools, like every student in the TDSB, in the English Public School Board. So we have 4 school boards, whatever. That's a whole separate issue. Everyone in the TDSB in grade 5 or 6 goes for a week to the Toronto Island School. They have a section that is like a sleepaway camp sort of arrangement, and they do activities through the week where, you know, you go and look at the stars and do a little study where you dredge up a local swamp and count the fish and other stuff. And so my first experience with the island school was actually that. Now, I was like the second or third year after they had built the new school. So I stayed in the new school when I went as a little kid in grade 5. All right, I'm gonna go over here to this lilac bonnet. Where do you get good mushroom references? I am sort of compiling references from a bunch of different places, but my starting place is often, because I'm in Canada, we have something called VASCAN, which is Vascular Plants of Canada, or iNaturalist is another one. iNaturalist.ca. Anyway, both iNaturalist and VASCAN will do, they have organized studies as well as just like community-led observation pics, and so then you will get, for a given species, you'll get observations from, you'll get photos that are geotagged for a bunch of different locations, so you can get range as well as different selection of, I guess, phenotypical presentation. Let's see, let's get this down just a little, and then we'll do here. Don't want it to, so the thing about this purple is it wants to shoot into every little crevice. It's very, very poorly behaved pigment. See, we want this, but we want this to be actually fairly light, so let's go with this here. Need my paper towel go. I don't use the app. I use the website, but yes, I guess it does also have an app. But yeah, so there's iNaturalist, and then in Canada we also have VASCAN, which probably less helpful if you're trying to paint local species and you're not in Canada. Right now I'm looking at iNaturalist, but I actually tend to use VASCAN more. Anyway, in this case, I'm just sort of browsing around at like species I know about, or just, you know, oh, I want things that are purple. Let's just scroll through what, like, related species or species that are, or browsing through location, or searching, you know, common names for things that I found before. Okay, how's my morale drying here? Not quite dry yet. Get back to it later. Okay, so that one, I can wait a little. I can play with this guy and just get its little, just a little bit of graphite detail in here to get these popping out a tiny bit. So I could do this in paint, but it would take longer. And I do actually want to get this sent out. Not local here, just come out to visit. That's cool. My next door neighbor is a big birder. Like, he and his dad actually run birding tours. I've been meaning to ask him. But I am not, definitely not the expert on birds. Every so often I see something like, okay, well that's interesting. Let me try to look that up. I do have to say, like, online tools have made identification of species a lot easier, because it'll tell you, like, you know, disambiguation, oh, this is similar to this other species, but, you know, here are the differences, and then you can pull up pictures of both and compare it without having to carry a book, and without, you know, like, sometimes, yeah. Is this sketchbook from the exchange? Yes. Yes, this is Paolo's sketchbook. Your sketchbook is also here, and I'm also shipping to Jill as soon as I finish this. I actually did yours first. Where did I tuck yours away? There it is. So Gabor, here is yours. I did a few things in your sketchbook. The first one is in your little ink blots. I got real creative with one of your ink blots. Then I did, sorry, I don't want to spoil it. This is Bindi's, it's beautiful. On this page, so Bindi did some embroidery thing, which you'll love. Actually, Bindi actually has shared this on social media, so I can show you that. But this, which has a golden orb spider with golden thread embroidery. Anyway, so this page was used up, so I did my little raccoon skull sketch here, and then you also get this one. Anyway, that is sorry, so I don't really use AI tools. I use, I will search based on location and attributes on something like iNaturalist, the website, or VASCAN. VASCAN is great because it will link you to some very detailed species descriptions, but it'll also give you similar species, both related and like geographically and appearance similar. And so then from there, I can use my own eyeballs and my understanding of language to my understanding of language and my understanding of photos to narrow down to species. And it helps if I've got enough of a knowledge of general taxonomy, general, I have some idea of what I'm looking at to help start that path. Because it's really difficult if you're just looking at an image, but I really don't like the take a picture of something and then an AI will just spit out some idea. I have played with it and it is consistently wrong at things where I know what it is because I planted it, and go and take a picture and no, you're so off. You're not even not even close. I just need to hope that it'll manage to go around the globe and gets back to you. Well, it gets back to you. Yeah, so that one's your sketchbook. This one is Paolo's that I'm working on right now. I think we are... I think your sketchbook actually has a good chance of getting to you. We've had a couple of strangle points, but I am somewhat less confident that my sketchbook will ever get back to me, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. Does that still have, oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, I could believe that, like, a purpose-built AI for orchids, but, like, it would have to be fed with, like, very, very specific data for like, even within orchids, it would have to be like, yeah, well, you know, for this data, for this whatever, and this location. The other issue with AI is you just don't know, like, what its internal methodology is. So, like, it might be more accurate, but you don't really know how it's going about its thing. Yeah, hi. Are you a funny little dog? That's a funny dog. Goofy girl. Amber's just sitting by me. There's a great big smile on her face. Let's see about this. more on this side of the circle are just a little starved for sketchbooks. Ah, yes, indeed. Your stream wasn't bad. Well, these will be headed your way soon, and then there will probably be a big gap before I get one again. In the area I moved to, there's a saying, not critique is praise enough. In Eastern European, I fully understand that sentiment. We are even more frugal with praises. Aww. Hi, buddy. What do I do with you? What do I do with Ember? Thinking, thinking. Silly cat, be smile. I'm sure you are okay. What's up, Ember? What do I do with Ember? What do I do with Ember? It's the beauty of painting with acrylic. You can go back to paintings and continue or touch up. No risk of off colors. I mean, I actually do this pretty regularly, even with even with larger palettes. Hi. Ember, go outside. Go. You want outside? Go. Sorry, one moment. I need to go let my dog out. Go. apparently that dog just needed me to refill her water. Back. She does also want to be part of the conversation. Yes, so I tend to share, like I tend to just use one palette and I'll mix on a plate. And even if I'm using, like in this case, I've got this palette out that's got all of these colors and I'm just using the orange here. But even if I was using more of them, and even if, you know, the palette varies a little bit between two different paintings, I would just use the same mixing plate if I'm working on two at once, which happens pretty regularly. In fact, one example, I have actually since washed that palette, but I finally got around to washing my big mixing plate palette, so I am actually going to have to get out more paint to work on this one. But these two paintings are done with the same palette. They're obviously quite different, and they use different sets of the same paints, but they're not, yeah. This one's finished, this one's not quite. But because they're both on a mixing plate, like on a ceramic palette, and I just pick up off of that, if I pick up a little bit of something a little bit different, then it just skews the whole palette, but I'm not, you know, whatever, it doesn't throw anything off. Generally speaking, it would if I was like trying to mix totally from scratch with a whole different palette, right? Like if I had to, if I did, especially if I was working like top to bottom or left to right, and leave some blank area, and then like, oh, well now I'm gonna mix some greens and pull out a different palette where instead of a phthalo blue I have a cobalt or something, like, yeah, that's gonna start looking kind of off, like what happened here. But it does help me rethink, you know, what do I actually need to mix certain colors, to communicate certain things. Because it's kind of impressive what a range you can get with just two colors. I mean, similarly, the Zorn palette that I was playing with is this other, like, doesn't have any cool colors, but you can make things that almost in some contexts almost look like a green, maybe, if you squint. Hi Jill, how are you? It's a little dark. There we go. So Paulo, per your request, I've actually left a blank page here because there's drawings on the other side of that. So I did want to do a full page spread, but I've left a blank spread. so this is a long weekend here in Canada. We have something called Civic Holiday. Is that, I believe that's also in the US, am I right? Do you also have Civic Holiday? Who else has a long weekend coming up? We have Labor Day the first Monday of September, which is day off for most. No, so we have Labor Day as well. That's next month. But like this weekend we have Monday off called Civic Holiday. So apparently that's not a US thing, that's just here. Cool. Well, we have Civic Holiday. So it's a long weekend for us. I guess other places have a similar thing called Bank Holiday. Anyway, so I have long weekend, and then I'm heading off to residency on Tuesday. So I want to get this stuff out the door today, maybe tomorrow, but honestly I have other stuff that I want to get done, so really I want this out the door today. Okay, and then I want to put this on some little pine needle litter here. Just to add some color context. Let's get a little, some larger brush. Or rather, yeah, I'll use the dagger. Will the edges dry first? Unhelpful literal answer. This guy? Yeah, that was fun. Did that last week. Oy. Okay, rushing this a little. And it's bleeding. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Hopefully these little guys are I'm also gonna get a nice glow on. Because they get like this wet, glossy thing. Next holiday's in October. Y'all are deprived of holidays. Here in Canada, we get holidays all the time. I mean, mostly we get a big pack of holidays in the summer months. Okay, back to my Morel here. first half of the year. So it's kind of the opposite. Like they added one because we had nothing from New Year's until, April or whenever Easter is. Because we get Good Friday and Easter Monday. But we had no holidays between, the beginning of the year and that. And then we've got Easter, then we've got Victoria Day in May. July 1st is Canada Day. August, the first Monday in August is Civic Holiday, and then the first Monday in September is, goodness me, Labor Day. And they added the third Friday in, it's only been a few years. We have Family Day now. Second Friday in February. And then, so then we have September, the first Monday in September is Labor Day. Then we have our Thanksgiving is in October. Canadian Thanksgiving is before American Thanksgiving. And Christmas. Family Day. Yeah, so Family Day is a holiday that showed up, like a decade ago? Just over a decade ago? So we didn't have it growing up, but yeah. They added a holiday, mostly so that there wouldn't just be a gap in the holiday schedule from the beginning of the year to April, I think, was really the real reason. It was also already a holiday in some provinces, like, it's called something else. But there's several provinces that already did have a holiday that day, so they just made Family Day for the rest of us. And so there's not, like, really any, like, big cultural traditions attached to it because it's new. So maybe in the future there will be, because, families are great. But I think for most people for now, it's just like, whoa, okay, well, we get an extra holiday, hooray. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the extra lights here. Whew. Have me some water. Mind you, when I was in Brazil, I was kind of stunned because it seemed like every other day was a holiday. Although that was partially because it was World Cup and they take off whenever the home team is playing. But it was very much a like, okay, today's a holiday. What's this holiday? What's that holiday? Well, I guess I'll go visit family for this long weekend and that long weekend. This guy? My Morel? I feel like this is one where I need to step back to really appreciate it because up close it looks like a mess. I mean, that's ultimately what's important. Like, I actually don't need everything to look, you know, all the brush strokes and stuff to look perfect up close. That's never really the point, but working on a sketchbook at this scale, like, that's the only range I see things at. So it's hard to see what it actually looks like from further away. But, camera go out of focus? 1 moment. No, that's fine. Okay, so it's just the preview that's looking a little silly. Yeah, all right, on camera the mushroom looks good. We'll take it. Looks great. Yeah, I'm just like right, you know, inches from it. So what I see is all the unevenness of the paint, rather than like how the whole thing looks put together. It does look great all put together. I will take the compliment. Also, look at these Eastern Europeans and Germans giving me compliments. My goodness. Truly blessed. I learned from my more social friends. Excellent. It's odd on social media because like whenever you critique yourself, you get like, no, this is beautiful. I'm like, man, that's cool. I don't need this. I'm okay with making things I'm not thrilled with every time. Yeah, and I mean, like, when I criticize my art, it's not, you know, it's not a personal, like, oh my goodness, I'm terrible and I feel bad. That's just being critical of my own work, right? I also, like, I do end up having a whole bunch of my own art hanging around me at my studio, because it has to go somewhere. But, like, I don't like hanging my own art, you know, because I just see the flaws. And people get worked up about, like, oh, wow, you must have so much nice art. And, like, I do other people's art that I display, but I don't really like displaying my own art very much. I have it all over my studio, but, like, I don't hang it up in the rest of the house very much. Because I don't want to. Like, that doesn't bring me joy. And then people like, oh my goodness, that must suck. And like, no, actually, like, for me, the joy is in the process. And once it's done, like, I learned what I wanted to learn from that process. But like, I don't, like, I see where it went wrong. I don't, like, you know, where it went right. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. Someone else can enjoy it. Yeah. I love other people's art, and with other people's art, I'm not looking, you know, I'm not picking apart the issues, the problems. Yes, it's like once every couple years, I'll have one piece that's something just like a whole bunch of things just click together. You know, like I'm working on this, I'm working on that, I'm like trying to figure out composition, I'm trying to figure out something, I'm trying to figure out how to like, whatever, how to do certain things, and sometimes I'll have one piece where like a whole bunch of things just sort of clicked, right? And like all the things that I was working on for that piece just sort of clicked together and they really worked. but it's once every like 2-3 years. And interestingly, like, that sticks even when, you know, like, I have objectively better art where, like, I've developed further, but I have a little mushroom piece that, you know, in retrospect it's not anything that special in the sense of, like, any one of these on this page is probably equivalent, roughly. But I love that piece that's hanging in my kitchen to the point where I did a series of 30, and when I released them, I had Jordan come in. Oh my goodness. I can be so, like, such a stickler for rules that I was like, I am going to sell all of them. I'm going to release them. I listed them, I think at the time it was an Etsy shop, plus I had a like studio, like an open studio event, and so like I'm gonna open this open studio event and I'm gonna put all of the pieces live at once, these 30 pieces that I'd done in 30 days, and then people can buy them. And I did have like 5 of them sell in the first 30 minutes or something. Eventually, like, more than half, but some of them are still kicking around. But I wanted to list all 30, but I also didn't want to let go. I wanted to list all 30, they were all the same price, but there was one piece that I didn't want to let go of, because that's where, like, a whole bunch of watercolor things that I hadn't figured out yet, because watercolor was new, clicked together for me. I really loved that little mushroom piece. And so I had Jordan come around and buy it. Which is, like, absurd on its face. I could have just held it back, right? Like, I didn't need my husband to physically come in and buy it, but I'm such a stickler for rules. That's what I did. And that's still hanging in my kitchen, and it still brings me joy, even though, yeah, like, at this point, like, well, I figured all of those things out. And some composition besides, and there's really nothing that special about that piece. But, you know, like, if I did it today, it would not be the same. If I did it today, it's not like I would be sad about it, but, like, I probably wouldn't try to approach that as a finished piece at all. Do I still have that little mushroom painting? Yes, I do. It's hanging in my kitchen. I can go get it. Okay, this frame is so disgusting and needs such a dusting, but yes, here you go. Here's my little, this was 2016, I think. It's like I still like it. There's nothing wrong with it. If I painted it today, I don't think I'd be attached to it. But I am attached to it, and when I painted it, I was very attached to it. That is a very rare thing. Like, that is a once in a twice in a decade sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, at the time I was very much like, I guess I was a pro artist in the sense that, yeah, I sold a bunch of pieces. Like, this was a, you know, I had a studio, I had a shop, I sold things. But at the time, like, I wanted to work in watercolor, but my skills weren't there. Like, I couldn't produce in watercolor what I could produce in colored pencil. So I wanted to work in watercolor, and I did a lot of painting in watercolor, but my control was not there, and even just like my understanding of light and shadow wasn't quite there in general. So like it was, you know, I was very much had a lot to learn. And so a lot of things snapped together for me in that piece, which was great. Anyway, I do feel like I've had recently another moment where like things snap together in the past. I don't know, like in the past like couple months that I realized it, but like actually the first piece was last year. It just took another year to like fully snap together, where it's like, no, I'm producing work now that has a consistent, different, better look than the stuff that I was doing a year and a half ago. So apparently we now have special little icons based on who is the biggest spammer. So on today's stream, Lana is my top spammer, followed by Gabor in the number 2 position and Stephen in number 3. Oh, wait a minute. Apparently you all switched. I think that I can game. Alright, well I guess if you 3 just spam right now. Anyway, it doesn't mean much, but the more active commenters get a higher rank, I guess. And I don't know. I don't care about these things. those ones are looking pretty sloppy. We'll get back to that. Okay, let's see about these orange Mycena. Whew. The new feature works perfectly. It's just wonderful. I mean, I guess they're trying to encourage engagement. I don't know, maybe somebody actually cares about this. Like, woohoo, I commented the most on this live stream. Look at me, I'm so active. I'm a top fan. This is very important to someone out there. Yep, and if that someone is on this stream, I don't mean to yuck your yum, go right ahead and comment as much as you like. I mean, maybe with actual comments and not just like mashing your keyboard, because, you know, that sucks, but I am the king of the chat, right? Yes. You can turn it off for your own view if that is something that is annoying you. Unfortunately, like I don't think I can turn it off globally. Let me see. Nope. Nothing on stream settings. Nothing on. I can see who is the top fans. Jill, you're a number 4 with 75 XP. Versus our top 3 are all at 150, and we'll just keep switching spots as long as they mash the keyboard. Let's see. Moderation activities and feedback. Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like I can actually change it, but I can just... But if you don't want to see them for yourself, you can change it for yourself, I believe. I think the people for whom this is important are probably super scary to have in chat. I would assume so. I also feel like maybe this is perhaps more relevant to like a completely different kind of stream. And I'm not sure what that kind of stream is, but I don't think that it's a quiet, hey, I'm gonna spend 2 or 3 hours very slowly painting some mushrooms in my sketchbook kind of stream. Like, I don't think that that's about me. I think that the like really slow sketchbook art format, even if it was like a much more popular streamer, it's just not likely to attract the kind of people who are like, woohoo, I'm so into chat. Sorry, couldn't type. Wet and wet wash was in progress. Did I lose my place? You are very close to regaining your place. So you're all at like 150 XP, so if you all just, whatever, whoever types the most in the next little while, I guess. Measuring engagement. Yeah, so it seems to have like shown up like 2-3 weeks ago. And it's like per live stream, so it's not like it carries over. I mean, not that I would want it to carry over, although there is also a related thing on videos. Like in my YouTube creator tab, there's something about like your most engaged viewers, which again, like, well, what am I supposed to do with that information? Like, I appreciate community, but one would hope that people who are engaging or something, or like, I can notice that on my own without YouTube being like, this person has commented the most. Okay, cool. Can you tell us a bit about pigment PB80? Yes, it's called Azo Blue. Sorry, let me just pull up my reference here. Artistpigments.org. PB80 Hostoperm Blue R5R. Pigment information. It is a compound of dioxazine and benzimidazolone, which is somewhat what it looks like. It's related to a dioxazine. Odd, like the benzimidazolone is a bit odd because it's the only blue in the family. It's relatively new. It is somewhere between PB60, which is your my goodness, holy crap, PB60, that paint I use all the time, where I've forgotten its name. Indanthrone. Partway between Indanthrone and PV23, so if you want a really, like, you know, right on that boundary between between blue and purple, it's right there, but it's brighter than a PV60. It's like a more intense blue. It is a very, very, very tiny, very extremely hydrophobic pigment that shoots across in washes. You can kind of see here where I had actually let the edges, I thought, dry when I did this inner orange thing, and I did get a shot of blue right through the highlight. It's somewhat hidden now, but it was very much noticeably there. It is extremely reactive. Wet and wet, it wants to invade everything. And that's even with diketylpyrrolopyrrole, which is itself also a very strong shoot across the paper pigment, so they would cancel each other out, but this blue, oh boy, does it ever want to shoot across the paper. I did actually figure out where I got it. It is, Colors of the Iron range, which is a now defunct Etsy shop. It is available from some paint makers on Etsy. It's sold by, it is available from, among other people, Della Magna has it, and Prodigal Sons, sometimes. It is available if you want the pigment. It's available from Gara Pigments, the same people who still have PR88 and PO49. Like PO49, they sell it not in powder form, but in, where'd it go? aqueous solution. Where did my PO49 go? So I have this quinacridone gold, which is in a pigment dispersion in water. It's supposed to make it easier to work with these hydrophobic pigments, supposedly. I did not find it to be hugely helpful when I tried to play with this, but who knows? Like a strong ultramarine violet in hue. I think it is, it's close. It's maybe a tiny bit more blue than an ultramarine violet. Does Roman Schmal have it? I don't think so, no. As far as I know, Gera's the only like artist pigment supplier that carries it. And they have all sorts of, like, they get odds and ends. So one thing that Roman Schmal has done has been, he's tried out a few of these things where, like, he got PR88 and PO49 from Gera at one point. And did, like, very limited runs of, like, all right, well, Jane Blundell says that she likes PO49. Here's a PO49, what do you think? But never put them in his main line because he doesn't believe that there's enough supply for it to stay in production. You know, from Gera if he starts putting it in his main line. And doesn't have an alternative source. So, yeah, that seems reasonable. Did you buy it as a pigment? No, I bought it as a pan of paint. Sorry, Gera has it as discontinued, so they don't carry it anymore? That's possible. There was some noise about a possible, what was the industrial application for it? So it may pop in and out of existence as it gets explored for industrial applications. Okay, and then the last, let's see, Maze Polypore. Orange slime mold. Da 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 da. Oh, those are gross. Yucky, yucky. No, orange jelly fungus, that's what I wanted to work on. It's one of these. Where did we go? Orange jelly spot. Witch's butter. What was I looking at? Sorry. I'm looking for, I'd pulled up some references for, oh, or I could do a deceiver. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. All right, so here and here. So we'll do that and this over here. Yeah, and then we won't get into the slime molds because and then I guess I can have it. No. No, maybe it goes the other way. Okay, yeah. Maybe that's what I do. Maybe that one goes here. And its head is over here and it no, there's just not enough room. Okay, so we're not going to do that one. There's not going to be a deceiver here. Common fiber vase. Overlapping cap. Gara seems to have it. Right, okay, I thought Gara still had it. Della Magna has it. but made with Gara pigment. Trumpets. Right, okay. Do I have room to paint a trumpet mushroom? No, I don't. They're too big. Do I have... Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I'm putting in this last spot. So up here I'm gonna have an orange Mycena, and here I had plans, but I've since forgotten what my plans were. Okay, let's see. From the Marinwood Mycology Center. Okay, yes, that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do the hexagonal pour polypore, which is a cute little polypore fungus. And it's just gonna perfectly fill in this spot. So I can span here. Polyporous. I just posted it on these at my latest attempt at this scene I started in the stream. Oh, cool. I want to check this out. Pairing art. Ooh. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. You can cross post, yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and then I'm going to sketch out my orange Mycena. There we go. Images, images, images. I want there to be, aha. This is so cute. They grow in these really tight clusters, these orange Mycena. Okay, that is not the color reference I want, but it's a good composition reference, so we're gonna do that. Oh, sorry, I misread. Sorry, I thought Lana was saying she was gonna cross post it to my Discord, and I was like, I don't know what you're cross posting because Gabor just posted his, but yes, it is beautiful. Yeah, no. This is my confusion, I think. I just misread a comment by Gabor as a comment by Lana. Sorry. We're good, I think. Too many blue wrenches, indeed. Y'all look the same. I just get confused because the numbers keep switching. So sometimes you're number 2 and sometimes you're number 3 and sometimes you're number 2 again. competition, isn't it? Otherwise it would be boring. Right, so maybe we're wrong, and actually we are the kind of people who care about who's number one on the top spammer list. I don't think I really need to be a moderator. I think I made a bunch of people moderators so that everyone could post stuff like Discord links. We've had very uncommon issues with like commenters who need to be moderated. It's not a thing that happens frequently. Yeah, so generally in YouTube chat you can't post external links. Speaking of link, don't forget to hit like. Yes, please, like. And I'm gonna go back to my polypore here. I might do a underside study here of this same polypore, because I like real full pages. I thought it was just for the power to throw wrenches at. Banned! Bop! Yeah, it's pretty rare. I feel like I've had like maybe once or twice where somebody came in just causing trouble and talking about something else, and like, I mean, we talk about all sorts of things, but just like nonsense, like, you know, some nonsense like, let us talk about gender theory in a most offensive way. Women suck. And I don't even remember what the exact occurrence was, but I feel like I had one, maybe two instances of like, okay, well, I guess this is why we have moderators. It's also helpful to, especially because I've been inconsistent about streaming, so sometimes I have streams where I have only, you know, a couple of people watching, which is fine, that's nice. I don't mind, but it's nice if those couple of people, at least one of them is a moderator. Just in case someone comes. Sad color in the upper right corner of my... This one? What is that? I have no idea what that is. Some kind of burnt sienna type thing? I can probably... There's a whole video about this palette. So I could probably find that. Or... I do have a sketchbook where I swatch these up. let's see. It is, really? Cypress Burnt Umber Deep. Said because it's mostly unused. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't really... I paint a lot of tree bark, but I don't use brown. Oh, is that one of the originals from the original palette? That's cool. Look at me. Haha. And then I don't use it. Maybe I need to paint more bricks. But why paint brown bricks when I can mix an orange and a blue and get brown? I use it to mix black. Right. So I use Perylene green mixed with something to get black. The something varies, but Perylene green mixed with something in the reddish purplish range. I'll find a way to use it, I promise. We don't leave paints unused. Just not on this page, because on this page I'm very specifically sticking to my orange and blue. I mean, I painted bricks on in your sketchbook, but that was a different set of paints. And it also didn't include see, bricks. And not a burnt umber in sight. I mean, I don't paint fur that much. Like, I don't think that it's I don't think that there's anything wrong with using earthy browns. And, like, to be fair, I probably would use it in some contexts, just not the contexts of things that are so encrusted with, like, this palette has been used to paint a whole bunch of tree bark, yes, but tree bark that is so encrusted with green stuff that there's, like, barely any tree bark inside. And where the tree bark often is, like, more of a grayish tone. Like that it shifts brown or blue, yeah. Happy about that. About the presence of bricks. I have been trying with these sketchbooks to, like, choose subjects a little bit based on choose subjects, choose palettes, so like choose what I do in each sketchbook a little bit based on, you know, who it's going to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not torturing myself about it, and there's certainly been sketchbooks where it's like, I don't really know this person, and I'm just like, this is what's handy, and this is what I'm gonna sketch, and so it definitely has varied a lot between sketchbooks. I also, to be honest, don't entirely remember what I did in half of the sketchbooks, because I was in a bit of a chronic health fog. So it was, I guess some people will just see when their sketchbook gets back to them. Like, for the life of me, I painted in Bindi and Teresa's sketchbooks. I don't know what I did. I may have live streamed. Maybe that's how I can find out, but I have no idea. I know they came through my house and then I sent them, but I don't know what I did in those sketchbooks at all. There's just years there where my memory just has these massive gaps. Yes, I did offer in the Discord chat. I offered to send a courier to Kelly's. I'm going to reply to her. I already replied. I'm going to send her a DM as well, because that is not so much of an offer and more of a, you know, I'm telling, not asking. Like, no, these sketchbooks need to move. It doesn't, like, if you can't leave your house, that's okay. We're just gonna send a courier to come pick them up, because they need to move on. Anyway, Jill, you've seen what I did Teresa's sketchbooks. Like, I guess you might know better than I do, although I would totally not blame you for not remembering. 'Cause that was a while ago. I mean, I love having art from other people. I don't feel like painting digitally. And like, yeah, I guess I could email stuff. It's still not the same thing. Print it off. It's not the same thing. It's just not. When you did a loose crusty branch in, that was really cool. I remember that. That could have been... that might have been Bindy's. Or Teresa's, rather. Teresa's. You haven't seen Bindy's. Bindy's is stuck at Kelly's. And I don't remember what it was in either. I'm pretty sure in Lindsay's I did it was a seed pod thing. I kind of loosely remember that I picked a seed pod from my garden and did a seed pod that was in graphite and graphite and watercolor, I think. Wasn't there one with a bird too for one of... Sure, I believe you. Could be. I do also have sketchbooks of the same format that I did birds in that are my own sketchbooks, so I'm not sure, but it's certainly possible that there's a bird in one of those sketchbooks, yes? I just literally, I have no memory of it, right? So like, there's a bunch of things that are just like going through my life now and like, okay, well, I mean, what happened here? Huh, interesting. Because I was still trying to do things, but my brain just wasn't there and wasn't recording. Lovely chatty with everyone. You need to go take a nap. Okay, have a good nap. Yeah, so I've been on the side of the circle that is moving, albeit slowly, but like still, you know, moving. I've had, including these two, mine plus 5. So, you know, slower than we originally intended, but but still sketchbooks moving. So yeah, so I've had 6 sketchbooks, including my own. And for that rate of movement, I will say I'm kind of glad that there wasn't, you know, a huge amount of movement happening in 2022, 2023, when I probably, you know, if sketchbooks were coming to me faster, they would have churned out faster and something would have happened in them. I was still painting throughout, like not as much, and not, things progressed slower, but like I never stopped painting altogether. Like there was never any real, like, you know, more than a couple weeks where I didn't put a brush to paper at some point. So something would have happened. But at some level it's like there's definitely a difference between these 2 sketchbooks that I've got now, where like I've got a plan and I'm doing things, and versus some of the ones that came my way, like I'm sure I sketched in them. Some of them took me a little while longer to get moving, but like they still moved. I am at some level a little bit relieved on for my own sake that like, well, I'm glad that I get to enjoy this with a little bit more brain than I had for, you know, the earlier part of this exchange. But that being said, I am just before the biggest block, so I did get sketchbooks. Hi Paolo, how are you? Look at your beautiful sketchbook. I only had 2 or 3 altogether. Had some problems posting to Paolo, so Dan took over that. It seems like everyone has some problems posting to Paolo. It's just a Royal Mail just does not love you, Paolo. It's just, it's odd because I haven't had trouble posting to you. Like I've sent you things a couple of times, right? Yeah, so I've decided this is just going to be a study page of all mushrooms in varying shades of purple and orange and brown. Mostly orange mushrooms, you know. Gotta really embrace that orange, but... One time I did not give my host number to Dan, so it got returned because they couldn't deliver it. Then we corrected the issue, but the next time Dan forgot to include the number, it got refused. That's wild. Like, it's wild that there's been so many issues. Yeah, where you only had 2 or 3 altogether, but... Oh, so Paolo. So it's still the same sketchbooks. Like, has anybody successfully sent you sketchbooks, Paolo? Like, have you received... Wait, sorry, you have... No, you must have, because Gabor's sketchbook has one of your sketches in it. Okay. Okay. So Gabor tried, couldn't get it, sent it to Dan. Dan did manage to send you one. I have had 2 sketchbooks with yours. Okay. Okay. Yeah, cause Gabor's has there's a watermelon sketch in here. Yeah, give me a moment. I tried DMing Teresa. I don't think she's active on Discord at all. I thought I had her email, but I don't. I did find her. I do have her on other social media, so I am just gonna reach out through other social media and see whether, because she is active on, like, for example, Instagram. So I am just gonna reach out there. She's just not active on Discord. Honestly, she never was really active on Discord. She joined the Discord for the sketchbook project, and then the sketchbook project hasn't been doing anything. So she's been very good about the sketchbooks that come to her, have all moved actually extremely quickly. She's been very, very efficient about the sketchbooks that come her way. Yeah, so just give me a moment to reach out to Teresa. I have reached Bindi, so if Teresa is lost, if she doesn't want to participate anymore, or if I can't get a hold of her, then we can send to Bindi, and then you can DM Bindi, and she's not like active on Discord, but she gets emails if you DM her. And then she does reply to those instantly. I've done both sketchbooks. Yeah. You've decided, oh, cool. So you've got a plan for everything that's coming to you. That's cool. I haven't planned that far. We were discussing, I have tried to, certainly with these last 2, but also, like, in general, there's, like, I have some ideas where I knew for yours, Paolo, I knew, like, oh, I'm gonna do a study that's gonna, like, really focus on a bright orange. Like, I want to do something with bright orange. And it's going to be a limited color study that's going to include bright orange. I'm painting mushrooms and it's going to use this blue. Like, that was sort of last minute what I decided, but, like, I do have ideas for specific people, particularly who I've interacted with for a little bit longer, who I know a little bit more about, where I'm, specific sketches for specific people. With Gabor's, it's like, oh, he does a lot of ink and watercolor, like, landscapes and sort of, like, urban sketching type things. Like, I could do a more urban sketch type thing and some ink work. Yeah, she does. She's tended to reply. Well, it will be heading your way. It's still got a few people, but Marla and Jill tend to be pretty quick. And then, yeah. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hello. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You want to go outside? Sorry, I need to let my dog out. You want to go outside? Everyone's outside. Okay, go, go, go. Okay, go, go, go. Everyone's outside. Go, go, go. I'm sort of remembering now that for the Australians, I wanted to do something that was like very, very hyperlocal to something like more, I don't know, representative of Canada. Because it's so very far away. So like, here's something that absolutely wouldn't be where you are. Yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't super. Sterling was also quick. Yeah, so she has had Marla's second sketchbook for quite a while, but whatever. She is not the holdup. But yes, with her initial sketchbook, she was super fast. And yeah, like a color study is fine. I know that I did, Lindsay's sketchbook was like one live stream that I just doodled a thing in. Yeah. Next one to get to you will have my sketchbooks. One of them will have my sketches, one of them will be mine. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be a little while because they still need to go through Australia and Lindsay before they get to me. But so it's going to be just a little while. But the Australians are both pretty quick. And then Lindsay had some issues where she took a little while, but she's recovered. So I think she'll be, recovered. She has figured out workarounds. So these last couple took a tiny while to get to me, but yeah, like absolutely no stress about, like, a color swatch is fine. I could even see, like, you know, oh, if I'm not ready to paint something, but I want to do something representative, then yeah, like, here's a photo I took of something local, paste it in, and I'm going to do a color study where I try to match these colors and just, you know, here are some mixes to match. Like, that's the thing that I would absolutely see doing. She also received that and Teresa's at the same time, and Teresa's went on quickly. Yes, yeah, it absolutely did. Yeah, no, she's had a lot going on, clearly, the last year. So it's not, like, there's no concerns about Sterling moving things through. If she says she's ready to move things through, she's ready to move things through. I wanted to check in with her earlier today when I realized, like, oh, I'm gonna send something to, you know, if I get a courier to Kelly's, like, should I, does Sterling want that? Like, and it seems like yes, so that's great. I can see how it would be really frustrating if you're on that end of the circle. Because the preparatory work I did on detachable paper that I can glue into sketchbooks if I'm overwhelmed. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's also fine, like preparatory work, quick sketches. I haven't yet, but one of the things I considered doing was, like, yeah, what if I go to a park and just do, like, gesture drawings of, you know, ducks. They move around a lot, so it's like 10 seconds each. And a whole bunch of them are just going to be messy. Like, there's all sorts of ways of doing, like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be like a really developed page. I mean, okay, so these are exchange sketchbooks, but, like, if I pull out one of my actual sketchbooks, here's an actual sketchbook. Like, yes, I do have some pages that have, like, oh, well, that's a real sketch. I also have pages that have, here's my nephew helping me on a bus. I probably wouldn't just give an exchange sketchbook to my nephew, but, like, that's the sort of thing that exists in my sketchbook. Other things that exist in my sketchbook, I was playing with using, like, the multi-pen, the Bic multi-pens, so, like, I started this. Here's another thing that I did. Here's some more swatching. Like, my pages have, there's a whole range of, like, some of these things have a lot more detail. Some of this is just like, this is ink. I was sketching on a train. This is just splatters. Here's a color study. Like, all of those would be fine. was also just thinking about how just a journaling page about, of course not super private stuff, but a sketch of coffee and some notes. Some of my pages look like those from your nephew. Well, certainly some of the pages in my sketchbook look like that. I probably wouldn't send things from my nephew just for, I mean, privacy sort of reasons as well. Also, I don't trust him to not destroy things, so. So, like, I want to be a little bit more careful with these sketchbooks, not so much because of my pages, but because of the other pages that other people put work into. If I'm really stuck, I may paste things in, I may, like, it's, yeah. These last couple, they arrived just as I was getting out of, like, just recovering from things. It's been kind of delightful to, like, oh my goodness, I can paint, I can plan, I can do things. And so this is, both of these last two sketchbooks, I've done a little bit more than really I would truly intend to in a sketchbook ever. This is probably a little bit more developed than most of these sketches have or will be, but that's what's been fun for me right now. And it's certainly not like I expect that because I put this kind of time into a sketchbook that, you know, anyone else is required to match that. Like, yeah, just swatch some colors, just whatever, it's all good. Nope, that's not the brush I want. I want this brush. Okay. Oh, yeah, I probably should have linked some kind of reference, some kind of, like, what am I doing here? Yes. Yes, these grow on tree branches. Okay, and then this guy, do this, and over here. goodness, my dog is being so loud. That would have been a good opportunity. It would have been fine, but right now I'm working on a 2-color study and I'm not using any other colors. There's all sorts of places where I could have used a dot of yellow, but I didn't. I've been very disciplined about not adding other colors into my 2-color study, you see. Oh my goodness, my dog's being so loud! So loud! Okay, where did I put my... Not that one. Not that one. Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay. How did that end up on eBay? I didn't ask for eBay, I asked for... Okay, and so that's got a sort of jelly... I see excuses. I'll paint you a picture in just burnt umber. Single color study. One moment, I need to let my silly dog inside. She's been outside for several minutes and now she wants to come inside. Excuses indeed. No, I don't want it to lift. Okay. I guess I have to leave it be for a while. And then this one, I wanted to have some of the under cap, huh? Honestly, most of the wear on this palette came during a trip to Porphyry Island, where I was painting crusty branches, but they were mostly birch and fir and pine, which are more grayish than brown, first of all. And then also they're not really any of those things because everything there is so encrusted in mosses and lichens and what have you that there's like barely any branch showing. And so that is like the majority of what I've done for this palette is all from there. So I may well use a brown in some other contexts. It's probably not my most used color, but it would still wear down actually pretty quickly if I was using it even a little bit, because it's not so strongly tinting. So like if you're using it, you're going to use more. I can bring it along on this residency. I may have some more brown subjects to explore with it. Although tomorrow I need to go to an art supply store and get paper, I think, because actually I am weirdly, this is a new and exciting phenomenon, out of panels. I mean, I have some very large panels, but I'm out of smaller panels. So, yeah. Okay, over here, I'm going to Okay, so this page isn't quite done, but I am feeling myself get kind of antsy and frustrated. I've been painting for now, over 3 hours. So I think I'm actually gonna call this it for now and go get myself some food, feed myself. Thank you, everyone. Next week I am gone at a residency. I am definitely not going to be streaming. We'll see what I can do as far as putting out videos. I may be able to schedule one or do something quick while I'm there, but I probably won't be able to stream because the internet where I'm going isn't the best. Bye, everyone.